It's 1951. A British philosopher named Bertrand Russell is having dinner with friends. They're discussing religion, skepticism, and the mysteries of existence. At some point, between the laughter and debate, Russell poses a question that silences the table. What if the world was created 5 minutes ago? With all our memories, history books, fossils, and scars already in place. Could we ever prove it wasn't? The room falls quiet. Someone chuckles nervously, but Russell doesn't. Because this isn't a joke, it's a philosophical hand grenade. That idea, later nicknamed the 5-minute hypothesis, would eventually evolve into what the internet now calls last Thursdayism. The thought experiment goes like this. What if the entire universe came into existence last Thursday? Everything you remember, every photograph, every ancient ruin, every wrinkle in your skin, was placed there, perfectly fabricated. All your memories of growing up, every song you've ever loved, every scar and heartbreak, all installed like files in a computer, giving you the illusion of a past. Could you prove otherwise? You might say, but I have memories. I have journals, family stories, photos on my phone. And yet, that's the point. If reality itself were created with those artifacts already embedded, what would proof even look like? No one truly believes the universe was created last Thursday. But that's not the point. It's a mirror, one held up to our most fundamental assumptions about time, memory, and truth. Bertrand Russell's question forces us to confront something deeply unsettling. Everything we know about the past comes from memory and inference, neither of which can be proven beyond doubt. We believe the sun will rise tomorrow because it always has. But that's induction, not certainty. We believe in yesterday because we remember it. But what if memory itself is the illusion? In neuroscience, there's a phenomenon called confabulation, when the brain fills in memory gaps with fabricated details without realizing it. It doesn't only happen in cases of brain injury or dementia. It happens to all of us. When you misremember a conversation, when you swear you parked in a different spot, when you recall a childhood moment that you actually only saw in a photo once. Your brain doesn't store memories like files in a cabinet. It rebuilds them every time you recall them. Each act of remembering is an act of reconstruction, not playback. So each time you revisit the past, you repaint it slightly differently. You're not traveling to the past, you're reinventing it, and sometimes the brush slips because the past doesn't exist anywhere you can visit. There is no archive of reality sitting somewhere for verification. The past exists only as patterns of electrical activity in your mind, fragile, fluid, and endlessly editable. That's what makes the last Thursday hypothesis so strangely bulletproof. You can't disprove it, but you can't prove it either. It challenges the foundation of what we call real. In 1977, philosopher Hilary Putnam offered another version of this unsettling puzzle. He asked, what if your brain was floating in a jar somewhere, connected to a supercomputer feeding it electrical impulses? All your sensations, sight, sound, taste, thought, could be artificial, perfectly simulated. How would you ever know? But maybe you don't even need a vat. Because your brain is already doing the simulating. Your experience of the world is always a translation, not the thing itself. You never touch reality directly. You only touch your perception of it. If that's true, then what is time? Philosopher Descartes once said, there is nothing more ancient in the mind than the idea of time. Time feels obvious, linear, and unquestionable, but maybe it isn't. Because if someone or something tampered with time even once, if they rewound the universe and planted the illusion of history, how would you ever know? Maybe time isn't something we move through. Maybe it's something we recreate moment by moment. All you ever truly have is this moment, not the story of how you got here, not the idea of who you'll become, just this, the present, unfolding. Even 5 seconds ago, when you started this sentence, that moment no longer exists anywhere but in memory. So what do you actually possess that proves the past was real? Memories? They can be false. Photos? They can be faked. Other people's memories? Just as unreliable. The only thing you ever actually touch is now. Think about that. If the past is fragile and the future is uncertain, then your entire identity, who you believe you are, might be built on mist. You think you know yourself through your history, through your mistakes, your regrets, your achievements. But what if that history never really happened? What if those memories were simply given to you, like a deck of cards you didn't choose but were told to play? That doesn't mean they're meaningless. It just means your relationship to them might be looser than you think. If you woke up today with no memory of being anxious or broken or humiliated, who would you be? Would you still carry the same pain, the same stories? Or would you finally be free? Last Thursdayism isn't just a thought experiment about time, it's a mirror held up to your identity. Because if everything up to this week was just implanted, then none of the labels you carry are permanent. None of the shame is set in stone. None of the stories you tell yourself about who you are have to stay true. You don't have to believe the universe started last Thursday. But maybe you can act like it did. Start fresh. Not because the past was fake, but because your grip on it is. Maybe who you are isn't what happened before. Maybe it's what you choose to accept now. And that idea, as absurd as it sounds, might be the most liberating thing Bertrand Russell ever inspired. Because whether the universe began billions of years ago or just last Thursday, the only world that truly exists is the one you're experiencing right now. Thank you so much for watching. Before you go, please like and subscribe to this channel. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.